Hey, Maria. Hey, thank you so much for talking to me because I know this is going to help students a lot.
Okay, no
So I
problem.
just found out a couple of days ago that you got into Stanford, and I'm really proud of you. And I'm not just proud of who you are, and what makes you you, but I'm also proud of you in that you reached out and worked really hard to apply to a school that you thought that maybe you couldn't get into, but that you had that gumption and that pride in really working hard to just try something and look at the payoff. So I'm really, really proud of you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Thank you.
so could you tell me the process, like start from the beginning about why did you apply to Stanford and all that kind of stuff?
Okay, so I have never thought about going to Stanford. It was totally out of my mind, but I have a couple of friends who just suggested that I tried to apply anyways. And I thought I had missed the deadline because normal applications are all due in November, like for the UCs and the Cal State schools. And I was kind of bummed after I had submitted those applications, like, oh man, you know. But then I went on to Stanford's website and come to find out that transfer applicants, the applications aren't due until March. At least when I applied, they weren't this year. So they're due March 5th. They were due March 15th. And I decided, okay, well, I had this feeling of like regret for not applying, but now I have a second chance to apply. So I'm just going to go for it. And I just thought, why not try? Because there's a bunch of other applicants and I had good grades, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for it. And so the application requires two letters of recommendation, all of your official transcripts from any of the schools that you've been to. It requires a transfer report form that basically says that you're in good standing with your school. It also requires essay questions, and you can either fill it out on the common application or it's the common application or some other online application form that allows you to fill out to other schools. And the essays, the format is like one personal statement about, why you want to transfer to Stanford and what goals you hope to achieve. And then there's like about 11 other short answer questions that range from, you know, write a note to your future roommate to what is the thing you're most excited to experience at Stanford to what is society's like most pressing issue currently. And one I wrote a rough draft to all these questions, and then the key I think to my success is that I had someone read over my whole entire essay or my whole entire application, all of the essays, which happened to be my cousin who works in a writing center. So that was very fortunate. But Cabrillo has a great writing center, and I've worked with them before, and they helped me get an internship, a research internship for a summer at Berkeley. So for anyone watching this, like definitely use your resources, reach out to the writing center. There's also a counselor in the transfer center called Marcy Wald, who is a great resource for writing as well. And she actually proofread my essays for the UCs, and she's a great resource. She knows exactly what the universities are looking for as well. So from there, he looked over it and basically he was like, "This is all right, but it needs a lot of work." And so I spent I only had a week left and I spent like pretty much the whole next week just rewriting everything and really trying to hone in on what he was asking me. And basically for the main essay, they want to know like it's a it's an institution like anywhere else and they're awaiting a return on their investment and you as a student are their investment, especially if you're broke like me and hoping for some financial aid. So they want to know like, what are you going to bring to Stanford? Why are you going to be a good fit for Stanford? And they also want to know like, why Stanford? Like, why do you want to go to Stanford and not anywhere else? So your application has to be specific to Stanford and you have to do research into whatever department you're trying to get into and connect yourself to that research. So connect why you would be a good fit for that research and why you want to do that research in the first place. Um, and then one tip that my cousin gave me is to have a through line in your application, which just involves kind of like an idea or a concept or yeah, something that you are passionate about that keeps coming up throughout the different questions in the application so that they get a better understanding for your passion, and they connect that passion with the other aspects of you through those different questions. And so like for my through line, I chose sustainability and water, like water management, kind of just so that they can, when they think of you, they think of that passion that you have for whatever that may be. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah. One thing you said to me is that when all the people who are reading the essays at the schools are talking about the candidates, you said your cousin would say, "Oh, that's the water girl."
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
you're the one who's really passionate about water and sustainability, so that your authenticity comes through. You said that, what was that through called again? The through?
the through line.
Through line. It's like the theme that permeates through all your essays, so they could say, "Oh, that's the soccer
Yeah,
player," or "That's the water girl," or "That's the whatever, the
exactly.
roller
They have
coaster
like
guy."
something that they can remember you by, something that kind of like wraps together your application nicely. And that means, that doesn't mean like hit them over the head with it. Like you have to like make it the main thing in every single answer. Definitely don't do that, because then it's like, I mean, I don't know. If you do that correctly, it might be great, but you just want it to like show up naturally as possible throughout your application.
Okay, well, thanks. Thanks. I think this is really helpful for any other students who are applying anywhere, but also to Stanford. Um, can you think of anything else? Oh, and you mentioned that you got a full ride.
Yes.
That's awesome too. Students have to know that just because a private school is expensive, it doesn't mean it's going to be expensive to go. They have a lot more money to give people.
Actually, Stanford, if you make under a certain like qualifying income, they guarantee that if you get in, they'll pay for you.
Oh,
So
excellent.
that's actually, that I forgot to say, that's one of the major reasons I actually decided to try to apply, is once my friends told me like, hey, you should try. I went on their website and I looked up financial aid, and I realized that. And that was like a huge selling point for me to actually even
Okay.
apply in the first place, because I knew that if I got in, I would get financial aid. If not, I was like, I don't know if I want to apply to an institution that costs so much money, but I had the prospect of that financial aid kind of also driving me and pushing me to apply.
Great. And then it sounds like you did a lot of research, like you learned about what Stanford's all about, what's their civil engineering department all about, because you wanted to go into because you're going into civil
Yeah.
engineering. And then it was great that you had your cousin, but it sounds like you had really good resources from Marcy Wald and the counseling,
Hmm.
and also in the writing center. So that was really awesome. And then could you talk a little bit about what you think engineering abroad gave you in
Yeah.
terms of
I think,
overall? And yeah.
I mean, in my application, I used it to kind of leverage like how I could sell myself. Here's like this really neat experience. And then I used it to I would kind of like walk through the experience, and then throughout the experience, I used it to sell like, and here's what I did in this project, and here's how I contributed, and like, here's how my natural skill, or like the skills that I already had, played a role in this project. So it wasn't just the project itself. It was the project itself, but it was also like the way that I could use it to show how I could be a good engineer, basically. But I think that experiences like that just make, I mean, I feel like in general, they're able to see like, oh yeah, this is where she's already active with her, like actively engaging with her passion for sustainability, and like how she can use engineering to that end, as well as, just getting hands-on experience with engineering to make sure like, oh, that's really what you want to do. To see that I'm like more serious about it, or that there's a reason behind my interest for it.
Okay, well, thanks.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to stop the recording.